I am so excited to speak with you. I've been a big fan of yours for a long time, and I want to give you an official welcome to the horror genre. And I mean this in the nicest way. What took you so long? Because you
Oh, thank you.
nailed this. I want to know what horror movies inspired you growing up, and what kind of inspired your turn with The Blackening, which I absolutely loved.
Oh, well, I guess I go right to some old slashers that I'm sure you will know of. I grew up on like the original Friday, the original little batch of three movies. Even though they made many more. Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play. Many know it as Chucky now. So I grew up on those, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Those were when I started to get into making this film. I went back to look at those, and it was interesting to watch them with this new eye for, when moments scare you, and what you do in a chase, and how to just build up that intensity when and kind of what was great is to kind of emulate or try to create that same feeling that I had when I was young. And then in terms of this movie, in terms of finally reading this script and finding it to be so clever, but also too, Dewayne specifically, but Tracy as well. There's such a respect to horror films, and to have all of these callbacks and all of these little moments in the script, I found it to be kind of a great introduction for me into the horror genre, because I could still lean on my strengths, which I believe are comedy, but at the same time have this area in horror movies where, although extremely interested and extremely in love with the genre, had never tried it before.
I love all of that. And you led me into my next question so well. You are known for comedy films, but you do the horror really well. What was it like trying to balance those? I imagine they're very vastly different. And I know horror comedies, we've seen them go one way or then they go the other way. This was greatly in the middle. How did you balance that?
I think this was fun. I've kind of had to do this when it comes to even an action comedy or a romantic comedy, where you just have to kind of give the respect to the other genre. When I say the other genre, the genre that isn't comedy. And in this one, it was fun walking that tightrope. I found that in these kind of situations, when you're in the moment and you're creating that scene or that sequence, you want to collect the right. You almost have to kind of do it in a kind of a serious manner. Serious to the horror. And then there's always takes where we kind of let it be a little bit looser. And you're hoping that in the editing room, you can kind of merge these two and make them work. But what I found is you kind of just have to go for it. There's a lot of trial and error. Many times I do find that my instincts kind of lead me to kind of the right answer. But there are times when you just have to put it in front of a small audience and say, what do you guys think? I often say that I'm making movies for me and my friends, me and like 4 or 5 other people. And sometimes you have to put it in front of them and just kind of, sometimes you don't even ask. You just have to have them watch it and find, hey, did it make them scared? Did they, and I can go back and say, guys, were you scared at that moment? They're like, no. So then it's like, okay, maybe I have to, put the right different music in it. Maybe I have to give more space to it. So I find that kind of laboratory work really fun, and being a little afraid that whether it came out right or not kind of is something that kind of inspires me.
I love that you are not precious with your babies and you say, hey, friends, please help me out
No.
with this. I love that. I think that's great. One thing I think you're really great at directing wise is ensemble cast. I go to Barbershop or even Think Like a Man. I love you with a group of people, and you do that well with The Blackening. How is it? What's your little trick to giving everyone the goodies that they need? Because it must be hard. I've tried to direct and be like, I want one person on set so I can focus. You do like 8 characters. What's your tricks for that?
What a great, a really great observation, great question. I don't know what it is. There's this chaos to it that I feel like I'm really comfortable in, and I think it might come from my upbringing. There was always many people at my house, so there's a little bit of that I'm always trying to kind of recreate, and I find that a number of stories intertwine just kind of keep the audiences on their toes. I think it is. I do find it difficult. I do appreciate you saying that. I do find that it can be difficult, but there's something about about multiple characters and multiple storylines, and also being able to stop a storyline at a moment because it's being interrupted by another storyline, allows you to come back to that storyline later. I just find that all these subplots working together just works. So it's just been fun for me. And when you have actors that just work well together, there's a organized chaos that I find to be really fun on screen. And I appreciate you saying that.
It's like when you get all your group of friends together and you're like, I don't know how all of us are going to work together, but we do, and it's crazy.
But we do. Yeah, we do, and we come together, and we there might be a little fighting, but it's always entertaining.
Now, with the Blackening, you dive into so many tropes, not within just the horror community, but also within the Black community. Was there any tropes or any specific things you wanted to touch on that you didn't get a chance to within both of those communities?
Oh, great question. Interesting. We kind of hit what we wanted to hit. One thing about this, and Tracy Oliver says this a lot, we're going to do many of these. So there are many more things to hit. So we knew that at some point we do have, you have to draw a line at some point. But there's just so much more to our culture, and in that respects to any culture, that you can't get all in one movie. And one of the things that we love to talk about in the event we can do this again is that when you think of the horror genre, there's also different sub-genres in the horror genre, whether it be exorcism or all of those kind of things. So we also know that we weren't able to touch on every trope, but in the event we come back and do another one on both sides, whether it's the culture or whether it's the genre of horror, there's a lot more to explore.
Well, I'm sending you good vibes for more of these. I want more. I could watch. Look, I just watched all of the Saw movies with my partner. I would watch all 7, 10 of your movies, please.
Oh, bless you. Fingers crossed. If we were to get to 7, my gosh, that would be awesome.
No, I have one final fun question for you real quick. I love that you have a all-Black cast here. Is there a horror film you would love to see done with an all-Black cast? Because in my head, you tackling an all-Black Jaws with Samuel Jackson as Quint, I mean,
oh my God,
give me the Oscars.
Awesome. Oh my God, that would be awesome. I can go to one quickly. I would love to do a sci-fi like Alien or Aliens. I would love to do that kind of movie with an all-Black cast. Oh.
I will watch The Blackening in space. I'll give you the money for that right now, please.
Exactly. I would love to do something like that. It'd be awesome.
No, thank you so much, Tim, for speaking with me today. I had a great time with this film. I really love you in the horror genre. I want you to go play with the stuff you like to play with, but please do not leave us. You did well by us. Please don't leave us yet.